Welcome to Policing TV. Each week we will explore the highlights from our latest videos, diving into topics like AI, technology, drugs, and the people shaping the future of policing. In this clip, we hear from Dan Shepherd, founder of Infomentum, Matt Bland, COO Society Evidence-Based Policing, and Jack Rowlands, Victim Care Improvement Met Police at the Modernising Criminal Justice Conference 2025.
I've been working obviously in partnership with Salesforce over the last 3 years, delivering on the ground with the forces, and it's been an amazing time for us. It's been incredible to see the outcomes that we've been delivering, 20% reduction in 101 demands, 15% in 999, and it's had a massive impact, and it's been great to tell our story to forces who we're now engaging with. It's been great to see the results that we've been able to deliver for the forces, and is a set of outcomes that have really inspired our team as well. It's been great to see the impact that it's made culturally across our organisation. People loving making the difference that we've been making day to day for victims of crime, and it's really exciting for us to now be moving on to other initiatives like witness care, CRM, firearms licensing, expanding the use of the Salesforce platform and delivering new initiatives for forces and delivering even more outcomes. Fantastic. Thank you, Bernard.
I'm Matt Bland. I'm here at the Modernising Criminal Justice Conference at the QE2 Centre in London. First time I've been to this conference. It's a really good opportunity for me to scout out conferences that are put on really professionally and try to get some learning, take it back for SEVP's own events. But I'm actually speaking at this event on the CGI panel in about 25 minutes. We're going to be talking about the value of data and artificial intelligence solutions and their foundations and what it can bring to improving practice in the criminal justice sector, which obviously is a mainstay of what the government are talking about at the moment, really important part of developing strategies across policing and the justice sector. So got plenty to talk about in that respect, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jack Rowlands. I'm a superintendent in the Met Police. I'm here at the Modernising Justice Conference today in London. I'm the victim care lead for the Met, and it's really, really interesting coming here today, looking at how all partners are working with technology, working with others to improve the victim journey and the outcomes for victims to get justice for them. I think that embracing technology is really important, but ensuring that we've always got the human and we've always got the victim at the centre of our minds can only mean that both can work together. So today, really good to meet new people, great to get to see new companies trialling new technology, and for me, we need to embrace it, develop it, and bring it into our respective organisations.
From Gibraltar, we heard from a number of detectives involved in the fight against domestic abuse, and in this clip from Helena Cunningham talking about the challenges and successes of her role.
Been in the police just shy of 10 years now, 8 of which I spent on response teams, which I loved. I love being the front line, kicking the doors in, getting into the action. I got promoted whilst on shift, spent about 3 years on shift as a sergeant, really enjoyed it, but I've always sort of swayed towards domestic abuse policing. I think it's a really interesting area of work, really enjoyed it. So when a vacancy came up for a DS in crime for the domestic abuse team, I had to go, and I've been there just over a year now.
Okay, thanks. And so talk to you. You mentioned a little bit about your time in response policing. What were some of your highlights of that time?
For me, one of the biggest highlights was probably the teamwork, the sort of camaraderie between all the shift officers, because obviously policing is a very male-dominated profession. It probably always will be, but and I liked working with such a big team and learning how people work and like what their views were, what their roles were, and that's what I really enjoyed most about it.
Okay, and so what made you said you were always drawn to sort of domestic abuse and protecting the most vulnerable. What specifically was it that drew you to that?
I think because in my previous career I was an occupational therapist, so I've always been sort of, when I work with people, I like working with people, understanding people and listening to people. So for me, that kind of those skills transferred quite nicely into DA policing, public protection, because we're dealing with victims and also suspects of DA, and a lot of the work we do is about listening and empathy and understanding what's going on. So I think that's why I'm sort of drawn to it.
Okay, thank you. And So the first time we met, Helena, was last year in December. We met at the Senior Women in Policing Conference in Oxford. We had some really interesting conversations there. Can you talk me a little bit about what the conference did for you?
That was really an interesting one for me because it's the first time I've ever been on anything associated with women in policing because, as I say, I've been here 10 years. I'm quite sceptical. I was quite sceptical about women in policing because I've been here 10 years and never really had any issues as a woman. I don't see what all the fuss is about. And so when I was selected to go on the conference, I thought, okay, I'll go with an open mind and see, what comes of it. But it was life-changing. Yeah, life-changing. It was 3 days there where I was surrounded by all these powerful women. I felt so empowered and inspired. And I think what struck with me is because I'm not one that wants to progress up the ranks. I love my role as a sergeant. I think it's a great role and I can see myself retiring as a sergeant. So for me, why am I going to bother investing in it when I don't want promotion? And then it was just flipping it on its head, thinking, well, actually, I want to learn more. I want to learn how to empower and inspire my colleagues to go for promotion, to progress up the ranks. That's my job. I'm a sergeant, I'm a line manager. I want to help push other people to achieve their aims. And I was just surrounded by women of all these ranks and their challenges. And it just really sort of clicked for me. And it made me really appreciate actually women in policing is quite an important role. And me as a sergeant, I have a duty to sort of spread that message across the force and, help other officers develop.
That's brilliant, and I was really touched by that because I shared something similar with you when I first got into policing. I didn't see the benefits, and I had a similar and by going to a conference, I had a similar light bulb moment, and it's really lovely when other people get that. So go back to your role in the Public Protection Unit. The Foreign Office have been putting some funding your way in a pilot with Devon and Cornwall Police. What improvements have you seen in that unit with the assistance of that funding?
I think for me the biggest thing is the networking and having people to go to and open communication, because public protection is a lot about sharing information. We have to keep on our toes and share information between departments, and so to have links with Devon and Cornwall and their practices and how they're developing things has been really good for us in the IGP. So we're listening to them, finding out what's working there and how we can implement that in our small force here and sort of try and progress.
Brilliant. And I'll speak more to the inspector about it, but he was telling me that public confidence appears to have really improved.
Yes, I mean, I'm a big fan of using media as a tool in policing, a very big fan. And I think especially with domestic abuse in Gibraltar, we're a very small community, so a lot of people may fear reporting because their family member might live next door or you bump into them into the street, so it's very difficult. But we've noticed that since we've been publishing more and more out on media, people are seeing it and thinking, oh, actually, if I do report something, I'll get taken seriously. Things will happen. There's court outcomes. People are going to court for this. This is great. So we are starting to see more and more people report now, which is great.
And I think my final question for you, you said that you don't necessarily want to progress up the ranks. You're happy to be a sergeant, and I think that's fantastic because the empowerment of women isn't just about promotion. It's about making sure that women get the best out of their career so that they can be the best police officers. What's next for Helena?
For me, I mean, I love the DA team, and my idea is to keep growing it and keep pushing it. But then it's also pushing my team members to go further. I'm lucky I've got another female in my team, Kiana. And I see so much in her, and I'm just keen to sort of really push her. And obviously that will mean a detriment to my team because she will flee at some point. But for me, it's about developing officers and just really pushing DAT. And also we're getting a lot more women joining up now, and I think if they see successful women in specialized departments and progressing and stuff, then it'll excite them to do the same thing and to help develop and keep them in the job. So that's what I see myself doing.
Oh, well,
The College of Policing's Rachel Tuffin discussed the complexities of redaction in policing, focusing on the challenges of national adoption of redaction software and the importance of implementation support.
This video, we're going to be talking about redaction. And it's not just about text redaction, it's also about matters that go beyond that. So over to you, please, to explain.
Yeah, so here we're getting into the sort of what you might call the final stage in that innovation pipeline that we've been talking about. So sharing, testing, and then here getting into national adoption, or how do you get something adopted in your whole country? So the example here, redaction software. So originally tested by Hertfordshire Constabulary, and they, I think, were. I think they were the first, and they did their own test. And then this was picked up by the Eastern Region Innovation Network, run by a woman called Stacey Rothwell, And they provided that support that we've been talking about. So some on-the-ground support, examples, assistance. They helped Hertfordshire to create a blueprint effectively for being able to do this kind of work. So it was adopted across this eastern region. And you might then think that it would be quite easy to go from that to sort of national adoption. But actually it hasn't really. It's sort of slowed down. And I think there were a few reasons for that. One, we weren't in place at that point. So there wasn't any of that kind of support. What the eastern region had provided wasn't there sort of across the country. And so we've been trying to put that in place, providing a sort of network for all of the people who work on redaction or be interested in that work on redaction, and then understand with them, if a force hasn't adopted yet, why? What are the reasons behind it? What barriers are there? Is it because they've had other change projects? Is it because the business case didn't land quite as it needed to with senior leaders? Is it because they just don't have the resources to invest in it right now? Is it because there are change process issues with the people who need to be using this, officers and staff who need to actually use this software, this material? We've learned lots of lessons from doing that, which we're now going on to apply with audio, visual and multimedia redaction. So this is more sort of blurring faces. There we were talking about deleting names and addresses and identifying material. Now a sort of blurring faces and voices so that you can use material in various contexts, court and so forth, with the material prepared. And here we're learning the lessons from that. Home Office are providing a central fund, which of course will help. But equally as importantly, I think we're providing quite a close network of implementation support. So we've already got the network of forces in place. We're getting them to tell us what kinds of things they're going to need in some detail. We'll give them an adoption pack. We're working with the very early adopters for them to tell us what lessons they're learning. So it's really satisfying to sort of work through with forces. Okay, what do you need? How can we provide that? How can we make sure that you're all getting access as fast as possible to the things that will help you overcome the barriers to implementation? So yeah, it's been good, and lots more to do, obviously, but it's quite encouraging so far.
One of the things that struck me ever since we first met, Rachel, is just how enthusiastic about the work that you do, and the way in which you communicate the initiatives that have come across your desk and the work that you and your team are doing. Can I just encourage those who may be interested in this or feel that they've got something to contribute? college.police.uk. You can contact Rachel and her team, and indeed the wider college through that. Feel free also to come to me via policing.tv. Fascinating, always fascinating talking to you, Rachel. Once again, thank you very much indeed.
I feel very lucky. Thank you very much, Bernard.
Thank you for watching. Tune in next week.